Well, welcome back to day 2 of relational leading. In yesterday's video, we talked about what is a leader and what makes a leader, and some of the potential problems that a leader could face, with people and with people that maybe have no experience or way more experience than you, depending. It can cause problems from either angle. So we had just a brief introduction to that, but today we're going to get right into practical. And how can we engage our team, and how can we improve our leading skill? So if we're gonna look at our workbook once again, and we're gonna see the foundations for good relations is what we're gonna look at, and there's some blanks to fill in, and you know why already, to help improve our memory on this stuff. And we're going to use our little yellow card. I'm going to introduce this today and what that's all about. So, foundations for good relations. This course is called relational leading, and if you look on the card, it says that relational leading, and the bottom of the card on the one side, it says people must be treated as individuals, and that's a very key component to what we need to know as a leader and how we need to treat our team. Everybody is different. Everybody's an individual. They are not the same as you. We have to make sure that we realize that and recognize that just because I can do this and I can roll with this change and I can roll with that change, not everybody can do that. We have to treat each other as individuals. So the reason this course is called relational leading is because it's about relationship. As a leader, we need to have relationship with the people that work under us. That is absolutely critical. If we are unwilling to do that, we are not going to be able to lead well. So let's look at 4 very nice practical steps that we can use to improve our relations with the people that work under us. So let's get right to it. Foundations for good relations. Number 1, let each person know how he or she is doing. Let each person know how he or she is doing. Now, here's one of these situations that I mentioned yesterday where you might say, well, this is really obvious. Let people know how they're doing. But you know what? History has shown that in workforces and in volunteer positions and things like that, even though it seems obvious, we don't do this nearly enough, or even at all sometimes. Often we wait. There's an annual review or a semi-annual review, and there we'll sit down and we'll talk about how the year went and how they were doing, but that is too late in most cases. You want to sit down and talk about a problem and that happened 8 months ago. Well, that is way too late. It needed to be addressed then. And what about that great thing they did 7 months ago? Well, how come you never told them then? Right? So we need to let people know how they're doing when it's fresh. Now, a couple points on this. So when you're talking to people about how they're doing, you need to be very clear about what's expected. Like if there is a correction needed, be very clear about what's expected in a respectful way, of course, and point out ways that you would suggest to improve that. So don't just say, oh, wow, you did that terrible. That's not the way to do it. You could say, hey, I noticed this. I really think you could work on this a little bit, and here's how I would approach it. Give them some practical advice. You are the leader. But something very important here. Always praise publicly, but if you need to discipline or talk to someone, that's always in private, never ever in front of other people. That is always a private conversation. If you need to have that talk about improvement, never public. If you want to humiliate someone, that's a great way to do it. And if you want to lose respect of your team, that's another great way to do it. So always praise publicly, but correct in private. Okay? Second one, give credit when due. Give credit when due. So if somebody does something exceptional, wow, praise them for it. Point it out to them right away. So don't wait for that review again. Like, point it out to them and build them up that way. And I think we should be looking for things on a very consistent basis that we can give credit when due to all of our team members. We don't want to just be singling out one person all the time and praising and praising and praising, and the rest just kind of like, oh, I can't meet up to standards here. You know what? If they're doing a great job, let them know. Let them know. Third one, tell people in advance about changes that will affect them. Tell people in advance about changes that will affect them. Now here's one, if we're ever going to fail at something, this is probably it. In the workforce and in volunteer positions, often we implement changes. They come from, management or from above somewhere, and down the chain it comes, and it's expected that that change will happen right now. You know what? We are all different. Our personalities are all different. Now there's times and places where there are things that have to happen immediately, and that's true. But for the most part, decisions that are made have been talked about, they've been discussed, they've been voted on. It's not like some life-changing, life-altering decision that just got made in most cases. So if you need to give your people a couple of weeks to soak this in and talk about it and process it, I'm pretty sure that'll be okay. So give them time. Some people can take and run with a change and change on the fly, no problem. Others can't. And both personalities are very valid and very okay and right. So, but we need to recognize that people have different personalities, and it's okay that they need extra time. And we need to remember that as a leader. And we need to be helping them through it as the leader as well. But the biggest thing we often forget about changes is, as we will bring this change, and this is what's got to happen, guys, and starting on this day, this is what needs to happen. But we forget to tell them why it's happening. Often we forget the reason, not just because management said so and want to make your life difficult. It's there's obviously some reason behind it. So if you want to get a lot of buy-in and you want to get a lot quicker change happening, tell them why. Like, why is this important? Why do we have to do it this way when this way has always worked before? So say why and work with them. You're the leader. If there's someone struggling in your team to take on these changes, work with them. This is where your relationship with them is very critical again. Work with them to get through this change. And fourth, make best use of each person's ability. So here again is one of those real obvious ones, but sometimes we do overlook this a little bit. So if you looked at a church and, okay, in a praise and worship band, you're not going to put someone who's a skilled guitar player on the keyboards, let's say. If they've never played keyboards before, you're going to put them on the guitar, right? And the same thing with anything else. If they are very skilled in this area, why are we putting them over here? Now, sometimes there's not an opening, or sometimes there's not an opportunity there, and they just want to serve anyway, so that can work. But if at all possible, we should try to get them into their strong area where they can shine and do their best work for you. And you know what? That'll keep them motivated as well if they're doing the thing that they actually like doing, the thing that they're strong at doing. So try to make the best use of everybody's ability. If they have good leadership, hey, let them work with that. If they've got good organizational skills or good serving skills or whatever it is, I don't know, there's tons of things it could be. Try to get them into that area. But also, as a leader, this is where your relationship comes in again. Now, look for maybe there's some untapped abilities that they have that they're hidden down there. They haven't maybe admitted that they're good at this, or they're a little shy. see what else maybe they can do. Maybe they've got some hidden talents that could be real helpful to your team. And lastly, you're going to notice on the card it says never stand in someone's way. I've seen this happen many times. A leader will not allow someone to transfer over to a different department or to a different thing, because that will just be detrimental to his department. It will just cause all kinds of grief in his department. But that's, as a leader, that's super selfish. If someone sees an opportunity for a new challenge or an advancement or whatever the reason is for moving and changing direction, we can't, as leaders, stand in their way. We need to encourage it, help them with it, but don't stand in their way because it would inconvenience us as a leader. That is very important to remember. That is not showing leadership. That's showing selfishness. So let's just avoid that one. So you'll see. So in conclusion, my challenge is simply this: take this card, carry it with you whenever you're meeting with your team. Have it with you. It's built this size for a reason. Put it in your pocket or your purse or your wallet. And it's just a reminder of the 4 foundations, the 4 things that we should be actively and intentionally doing with the people that we have influence on. So remember these, try them out, and when we do meet together in the near future in person, I want to challenge you to share some of your experiences, some of the times that you use some of these foundations. What did you do? What did you say? And how did it go? So I want to hear some stories, some actual stories that you've done. So in the meantime, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.